Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 8 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm Pamela Davis, and you are listening to the Well Done Life podcast. It is so great to talk with you guys. I know it's been a little bit since my last podcast, but it has been super busy, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. But if you're new and you're just listening to the Well Done Life podcast for the first time, this is the podcast that is designed to help everyone kind of grow and learn on the journey of life by sharing each other's stories. So right now, for the first 7 episodes, you've been listening to me share some of my adventures and some of my life experiences, and with the hopes that it will help you see value in maybe some of the things that you're going through. And as we kind of continue on this journey, I will definitely bring in other people to share their stories. I will continue to share mine because I really think it's important, especially in these days and times, that we learn from each other to help each other grow. No one has this thing all kind of mapped out. If we did, I think life would be a little bit different and maybe not as exciting and blessed as it is, but I definitely hope that we'll begin to create a dialogue and a group and a conversation where we're all together growing and getting better. So let's kind of jump into this week's episode. Like I said, it's been a little bit since my last podcast. It's probably been, I think, about 2 weeks, if not a little bit more, because outside of the coronavirus that has now popped up and has us all kind of sequestered in, I've been traveling. My last episode 7, I was actually about to head off to Dubai. My friends and I took a trip there, and it was amazing. It was my first time, and it was actually all of our first time going to the United Arab Emirates, but it was amazing. I like to travel every year for my birthday, and this year my friends Kathleen and Katie joined me on my trip. And this time we had an opportunity to visit Dubai. And then we actually also had an opportunity to go over to one of the other Emirates, Abu Dhabi. So I would totally recommend this trip. I learned so much. And it's amazing because one of the things that kind of helps propel me to want to travel so much is the fact that I feel like the best way to learn about a place is by visiting that place. A lot of times we have a lot of different perceptions that we get from books or from the media of how things are in a country. And in actuality, it's kind of a skewed view. You definitely have an opportunity to grow and expand yourself by going. And it's not that I just kind of go to live in a place, to experience hotels, even though I do love a great hotel or a good travel experience. But I like to try to immerse myself in the culture because it gives me a chance to kind of understand everyday life in that country outside of just the glitz and the glam of it all. And Dubai is definitely one of those places that has lots of glitz and glam. Both Emirates, Dubai, as well as Abu Dhabi are extremely beautiful. And if you follow me on Instagram at Pamela L. Davis, you can actually see some of the places that we visited. We visited the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. We visited the Cultural Center for Understanding and had a cultural lunch with an Emirati young lady who lives there to talk about what life is like for someone who actually is from Dubai or from the UAE. And it was amazing to actually sit down and be able to have such an intimate experience. I like the Culture Center because it's kind of like going to a visitor's bureau on steroids because you can actually sit there and really get an opportunity to interact with them and to really eat, which is one of the most intimate things to do, and be able to ask questions and learn about their culture because in the UAE, culture is a very big part of their society. It's not just the Muslim religion, because yes, it is a Muslim country, but their culture. Because if you think about it, their country was just really founded in the 1970s, And from the 1970s until now, they've had such a rapid growth. I'm actually reading a book by Sheikh Mohammed there, who on his business practices and leadership styles. So I'll definitely talk about that a little bit more. But it definitely is something to see. The United Arab Emirates is just such a beautiful, innovative, welcoming place. And I would definitely recommend, if you have an opportunity to travel there, that you look at that as a destination to go. It is very similar to being in the United States. Many of our businesses here are over in that country as well, and everything is very grand. And architecturally, they are so advanced and very stimulating. But like I said, at the same time, being able to really embrace your culture and your heritage and wrap that culture and heritage into your innovation is such a beautiful thing to be able to see and behold. My friends and I would speak with them, would say we felt extremely safe there. We had no problems. Like I said, I mentioned we went to the Burj Khalifa. We had our cultural lunch. We also did a desert safari with Platinum Heritage. And what I'm going to do, I think, in the show notes is I will link all the places that we went so that if this is something that you're really interested in possibly planning out, those would be places I would totally recommend. Platinum Heritage, it was really cool because, like I said, we did the desert safari. We didn't do any dune bashing because it is really terrible for the desert, for the sand. And it's just not safe to me to be able to do those things. But we did ride on Land Rovers through the desert, which was beautiful, and being able to play in the desert and have fun. And then we had a falcon demonstration because falconry is a very large part of the Emirati culture for men, as well as now. I just read a story today in Vogue Arabia as also an emerging sport with Emirati women. But falconry is a beautiful thing to witness, an amazing sport to see, as well as then we went to an evening safari dinner, a traditional Bedouin cultural dinner, and it was beautiful because it was like an individual camp, and we had henna, and then we had dinner, and we had dancing, and they had camel rides. I personally am not a camel person, but my friends Katie and Kathleen each rode a camel, which was great, and it was just such a well done, wonderful excursion. I would totally recommend it. And then we also kind of rounded out our trip with some time at the spa. We stayed at the JW Marriott Marquis in Dubai, and that is also the tallest hotel, I believe, in the world, as well as in Dubai. And it was amazing. The staff is so nice, as well as the fact that it's very centrally located, so it was really easy for us to get around to the mall and go to other places. So again, another place I would recommend. And then we also did a day trip, as I mentioned, to Abu Dhabi, which is also another beautiful emirate to visit. We got an opportunity to see Etihad Towers. If you've seen Fast and Furious 7, sorry, there's been so many, you will remember a scene where they were in the top of a sheik's penthouse and they stole his car and jumped in between each Etihad Tower, which was craziness. It was beautiful to see those buildings in person. And then also we went to the Grand Mosque, which was awesome. To see the Grand Mosque in person is breathtaking. There's just so much beauty and intricacy in that mosque. And it was just a place where you felt serenity. You truly felt at peace, and it was just wonderful to be able to partake it with my eyes and to see how beautiful it is, with the understanding that it took only 11 years to build it, is just awe-inspiring. So again, just another wonderful place to go. just in case, I'm sure many people always ask after they hear about how beautiful it is, how long of a flight was it? From Orlando, it's about a 16-hour flight. And we flew on Emirates. Luckily, here from Orlando, they fly direct. But I would definitely recommend checking them out in whatever city that you're in. And it was a great flight. I felt safe. It was very easy to get through. Like I said, they do everything with a level of advancement in technology. So it was just amazing. And to kind of prep up for the flight, really, you just have to kind of just relax your nerves and be prepared to either read a lot of books, watch a lot of movies, or listen to a lot of music. Just there's many different things that you can do. Time will fly and you can prep through. But it is worth the journey. I've noticed that a lot of the places that I've gone, they kind of all seem to be really far. One of my favorite places in particular was South Africa, and that's a 21-hour flight. So you just kind of have to prepare yourself. But I know right now with the coronavirus being what it is, we're not getting a chance to fly, obviously, or travel. But I definitely think that obviously there's going to come a time where things are going to ease out and we're going to be able to travel again. And if there's somewhere in your mind that you're thinking about going, I would definitely start planting seeds and looking for flights because there's going to be some good deals out there with everything kind of going on. So I spent a week there with my friends and it was great. And then I came back for like a couple of days. And it's funny because as soon as I came back, I got the flu. I got influenza B, not the coronavirus. So it was kind of touch and go for a while, but luckily I had caught it really early and I managed to take some Tamiflu and a Medprol pack and get my life together and get medically cleared to travel again on last Sunday. I was actually in Aruba. My company sent me there because I had a very strong sales year last year in my job. And my colleague and I from our division were blessed enough to be able to spend a 5-day, 4-night, all expenses paid trip to Aruba. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton Aruba. My sister and I actually had a chance to go together. And it was great because it was her birthday week. So I couldn't think of anyone that I would want to spend that trip time with because she holds me down with my mom and everything when I need to work. So I wanted to make sure that we spent that time together. So my godmother flew up here to stay with my mom while we were gone. And then Tracy and I, we spent several days in Aruba chilling. And it was epic, y'all. I'd never been to Aruba. And Aruba is now one of my favorite tropical destinations. Everyone was so nice. I mean, you know it's good when like the orange juice doesn't even taste like orange juice. It tastes like tropical goodness in heaven. And it just makes you happy. And the sun is like brutally hot, but it just feels so good to just luxuriate and relax. That was like my first time actually going from one trip to another. And I liked it, y'all. I really did. It was just so awesome. So I spent 5 days, 4 nights just kind of chilling out. We did a little bit of like activities in regards to, we had catamaran trip, which was great, and like dinners, and I felt really blessed to have it. But it was so nice for my sister and I to spend some time kind of decompressing because I came to kind of a weird realization. Tracy and I hadn't traveled together or really spent any time alone outside of our mom in the past 10 years before that trip. And we live in the same house together, don't get me wrong, every day. But to not really have any quality sister time in 10 years, it reminded me of how important it is that I prioritize my relationship with her. We always used to travel together a lot before, things changed with my father passing and my mom moving in. And to just think how time goes by so quickly and you can just get so comfortable with not traveling together or not spending good quality time together. It just was a real reminder for me, and I was talking to her about it, about how much I want to make sure that I prioritize sister time, how much I want to prioritize our relationship more, because like I always say to you guys, time is really fleeting, and we're all sometimes so caught up working and doing things that we don't put in the efforts necessary in our relationships. And it's not that we're intentionally doing, it's just that we get so comfortable operating at a certain level all the time so that you don't have to, you just don't have to think about it. It just happens. So it just was really nice to be able to take this trip because it reminded me of how important it is that I just do better. So I made a vow to do better, but I made a vow also to kind of sit my butt down sometimes and recognize that I need to prioritize sleeping and resting as a part of my self-care. And that kind of leads me into the coronavirus. My sister and I actually, we just came home Thursday night. And to come home Thursday night to just so much pandemonium, even when we were traveling back from Aruba, Aruba luckily didn't have any cases of coronavirus that had been reported at that point. And I don't think that they still have had any. But just to kind of see how the coronavirus is really going to impact how we, live our lives for quite some time is definitely very, very shocking. I'm sure you're all feeling it. And at the same time, it's just making me kind of think, sometimes you have to sit down. Like I saw a quote and it definitely really resonated with me, how sometimes you have to see in challenging situations that what certain things are being brought to you because it's a preparation mode, and how this may just actually be a moment that we need to understand that this is preparation for something else that could be coming later on. Not necessarily a bad thing, but just a chance to refocus. So the quote that I heard was, "We are in a forced slowdown. Take heed. This is the time to focus, maintain, meditate, rest, and prepare." And it's Fly Ageless, and it was posted by Charlemagne the God on Instagram. And I thought, wow, that is so true. I've been in those situations numerous times. I was in one last year when I thought about it. I had knee surgery, and I'm sorry, not last year, but actually a little bit of last year in 2018 when I had an ACL PCL reconstruction on my right knee. It really slowed my life down. I was going so hard, and God was like, sis, you're going to have to sit your butt down. I wound up in physical therapy for probably well over 6 months on crutches, trying to get back to myself. And sometimes I've noticed God will slow things down when he feels like the world is going too fast. So it just kind of makes me wonder, are we just going a little too fast? And maybe that's why we're in the situation where now we're facing the possibility of having to stay in our houses and not work or work remotely. I'm personally in that situation right now. When I went back to work, I got back from Aruba Thursday night, and Friday morning, I found out that my company is having us work remotely, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it because it's important to be able to preserve your health. And at the same time, I have a mom and a sister. So it gives me a chance to make sure that I have everything I need in my household to be able to make it through. But it's definitely a whole new life because it's like now you have to, socially distance yourself, which I'll be honest, I'm part introvert, so I'm not that opposed to. But definitely for my friends who may be a little bit more extroverted, I think that might be a challenge. But at the same time, you still have to try to operate. It's like food is very difficult to come by. I went grocery shopping a little bit on Saturday, and you would have thought like a zombie apocalypse was coming for toilet paper and every food article on the shelf. So I was like, I could only imagine for other people, this must be really rough, especially for the people who are working right now, trying to service our needs. It's just, I think, a time where we really do need to like sit down, but we also need to be kinder. We need to be a little bit more patient because things are not going to progress at the way that we're used to them progressing. And we have to get used to a new normal for a while. And maybe the long term effects will be from this that we have a little bit more compassion, we have a little bit more consideration for each other, that we look out for each other a little bit more than what we did before. So I don't know, I'm just hopeful because I think sometimes we need to get back to that. We move so quickly, we just can't let life pass us by and without focusing on what really matters. And what really matters is not how many purses you buy, how many new cars you have, houses you have. It's about the people in your life or the people that you interact with. So definitely, I'm hopeful that in spite of all of this craziness, some great things come out of it in regards to humanity. But I definitely am hoping that we're all a little bit kinder, a little bit wiser, a little bit more understanding, and definitely a little bit more focused on our health care. So I hope everyone takes this time to be good to yourself, physically and mentally. Please take care of yourself. I definitely won't have too much else to do outside of working and trying to social isolate and live my little bit life. So I won't be behind anymore on my podcast. But I hope that you guys, will reach out if you have any questions or concerns or want to talk about anything. And like I said, I'll share some links in the bio, in the show notes of places that we visited during Dubai, as well as definitely make sure I share the hotel we stayed at in Aruba because it was the bomb.com. And if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you can reach me on IG at Pamela L. Davis. You can reach me on Twitter at I am Pamela L. Davis. Facebook, Pamela Davis, as well as obviously you can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and Stitcher. So I look forward until we talk again soon, which will probably be next week. Stay corona free if you can. Look out for each other as much as possible. Give yourself grace and kindness and just love on each other because I think we could all use that. Talk to you soon.